Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Professor Ming's Strategic Insights. Last week, on April the 25th, the Politburo of the Chinese Communist Party held a meeting. It was the first time since the outbreak of the Tariff war. And that was the first time that the Chinese government or the Chinese Communist Party officially sets the tone for the tariff war. They call it a struggle. Remember, we talked about how they see the confrontation or the competition between the United States and China, the Communist China, as a class struggle, and that's what that means. The meeting also admitted that since the external pressure has much impact on China, on Chinese economy, so that they want, in order to deal with it, they want to emphasize on so-called four stabilizations. Stabilizing employment, stabilizing enterprises and businesses, stabilizing Chinese market, and stabilizing expectation. We'll explain it a little bit further later on. The meeting also proposed general policy directions, although without releasing much substantive stimulations. Let me explain what this Politburo meeting is before getting into the substance of the meeting. The Politburo is a 24-member body. This is the second highest decision-making body inside the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, next only to the standing committee of this Politburo. And of course, it's next to Xi Jinping himself, needless to say. It used to contain about anywhere from 15 to 25 members, but this time it has only 24. It contains, or it is consist of cadres from the party, the most important cadres from the party and from the government, from Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister and so on and so forth. And the top-ranking soldiers and experts in finance and economics and propaganda guy and of course personnel cadre are all included in this 24-member organ. And this kind of a Politburo meeting is supposedly to be held once a month. It discusses important issues, whether it's happening or it's anticipated, and so on and so forth. And for this time, it is primarily setting the basic tone, as I said, setting the basic tone to respond to this tariff war imposed initiated by Trump himself. It is reported that four general policy directions are suggested by the meeting. First one is how to address the impact of American tariff war. Well, they said that although the Chinese economy has been looking good for the first quarter in 2025, but the external pressure has been increasing, especially the one caused by the, like we said before, Trump's tariffs. So they summoned their cadres to strengthen so-called bottom line thinking. I'll explain it later. By bottom line thinking, it's like think of the worst scenario as low as possible and try to imagine how you can cope with it. And that's what they call bottom line thinking. And the party cadres are also asked to enhance what they call emergency preparedness and maintain stable economic operations, things like that. The bottom line thinking or the worst scenario is like, suppose the United States is going to cut or to reduce or even to sanction or embargo transportation of food such as soybean or corn or even wheat to China, semiconductor goods or high-tech or high-end goods to China. And suppose the United States decided to kick Communist China out of the SWIFT system, or to kick the Chinese stocks out of the American stock market and things like that. So the retaliatory measures Chinese can take is like the embargo to reduce the transportation of daily necessities to the United States, and to cut down to reduce the transportation or the sale of rare earth, and stop buying or reduce the purchase of United States soybean and the pork, beef, or poultry, liquefied natural gas, or to sell out the American Treasury bonds, as we mentioned before. Remember last week when we mentioned that the Chinese communists would probably want to respond to the pressure from the American tariff war by how to handle it domestically. We made 3 predictions. The first one is to strengthen the domestic demand market, and that's what we said. And the second one is to strengthen the stability of their financial system or the fiscal system, try to reduce the risk of capital outflow and things like that. And the third one is to speed up or to accelerate innovation of technology and the upgrade of industries. And that's the 3 predictions we made last week. That it seems the remedies are coming toward that way, and that's a second direction. The third direction is that they say they're going to offer more support for businesses, enterprises, and workers by issuing more treasury bonds and by relaxing or by easing monetary policy and things like that. And the last policy direction proposed by the meeting is a call for promotion of international cooperation and to oppose so-called unilateral bullying practices by the United States, of course. And last week we talked about how Xi Jinping paid a visit to Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia to consolidate the relationship with these 3 countries and prevent these countries from selling China out. And that's the first thing they did. Second thing they did was that we predicted they may call upon the meeting for the UN Security Council that China condemned the United States of weaponizing tariffs and to bully other countries and to cast shadows over the global peace and development, things like that. So those are the general policy directions proposed by the meeting. But from these general directions, there are several points that deserve further discussion. The first one is the Politburo meeting called this tariff war as a struggle. And that's a Marxist-Leninist terminology. It's like the counterpart of the class struggle for today's world politics, namely between the proletariat and the so-called bourgeoisie, or even the capitalists, meaning that they take it very seriously. It's like for them, in their ideology or from their ideological terms, it's like a cutthroat duel between the 2 countries or between the 2 groups. So that means, again, they take it very seriously. That's the first thing that worth attention. The second one is remember how they called upon the party cadres to focus on 4 stabilizations: stabilizing employment, stabilizing enterprises and businesses, stabilizing Chinese market, and stabilizing expectation. And actually, back in 2019 and 2020, when the late or former Premier Li Keqiang, who proposed the 6 stabilizations, in addition to these 4, he also talked about stabilizing trade, foreign trade or international trade, and stabilizing economy. So Li Keqiang mentioned this as a response to, or was a response to Xi Jinping's quarantine policy during the COVID-19 period. And Xi Jinping tried to impose a very strict quarantine policy, and Li Keqiang disagreed. Li Keqiang said the economy is important, so we better pay more attention to how to raise the economy or how to boost the economy, while simultaneously we deal with the fight on COVID-19, but Xi Jinping disagreed. So they had a serious fight. And then it ended up that Xi Jinping won out, and Li Keqiang was suppressed. But this time, this is a comeback of part of Li Keqiang's policy. So some people suggested, is it possible that some reformers inside the Chinese Communist Party who was in favor of Li Keqiang's policy direction rather than Xi Jinping's policy direction, so he proposed this again. We don't know yet, but there's something that worth further analysis in the future. The third point is a more concrete one. They talked about issuance of more treasury bonds and relaxation, easing of monetary policy. And well, that's an old measure. They've been using that for years, actually. This is what we call fiscal or financial stimulation. Well, it could be effective to a certain extent, but there are certain limits to it. We'll discuss it in later program because this is going to be a big one, a long one. And it will increase government stats, both on the central government level and also on the local government level, as we mentioned before. But like I said, it is a big topic. We'll deal with it later in later program. And one thing we noticed that they did not mention is export. Actually, Communist China have been trying to boost the export on a large scale and with much effort, but they did not mention this. I think there's a profound reason to it. Again, I'll talk about it next time. But anyway, there's something they try to avoid. The last point I want to call your attention to is in this meeting, and also in the communique that issue after this meeting, there are two important phrases or slogans that's not being mentioned in the document. The first one is so-called new era. The second one is two safeguards. This is what we call the mainstream or the main themes of propaganda belong to Xi Jinping himself alone. So when we see these two terms, two jargons, like a new era or two safeguards, that means it belongs to Xi Jinping himself. And when they try to propose something or they try to promote something, they want to attribute all the credits to Xi Jinping himself or to Xi Jinping alone, they will use these two jargons or these two terms. But this time, we don't see them. So that means they try to hide it or they try to conceal it. I think it's purposely. We're not sure why they do that, but some argue that this is a sign that Xi Jinping is losing grip on political power inside the party. Well, I don't want to go that far yet, but one thing can be sure is that Xi Jinping is under some kind of a threat or some kind of a challenge, although that may not be lethal. It may not jeopardize his political position inside the party after all, but we know the challenge is there, or at least the challenge is emerging inside the party. That's something that we have to pay much attention to in the future. So this time, this is a Politburo meeting, and it does reveal something to the outside world. It's just some lies to the internal operation inside the party, and also how they view the economic situation and how they view the tariff war against the United States. And also it shows their determination to treat it as a struggle, as a class struggle against the vicious imperialist United States or the imperialist Trump himself. But anyway, there's much to be observed in the future, and this is a beginning, a very good beginning, a good window for us to peep into what's going on inside China, inside this opaque communist China. So this is what I want to share with you today, and there's much to be talked about next time. And I hope you like it. And please share it with your friends, and please subscribe if you haven't done so, and please click the icon bell so that you get a notification. Okay, we'll see you next time then.